Listen up, because what I'm about to say is going to change the way you see the world forever. They tried to break you. They wanted you weak, obedient, silent. From the day you were born, they fed you lies about who you should be. They told you to be nice, to be understanding, to always put others before yourself. And what did you get in return? Pain, rejection, betrayal. You sacrificed, and they took more. You stayed loyal, and they abandoned you. You played by the rules, and they laughed while they won with none. But that old version of you, that man is dead, because today you wake up. The monster they feared inside you, the one they tried to bury, suppress, kill. It's awake now, and they will never, ever control you again. The world never wanted you strong. Let's get one thing straight. They never wanted you powerful. Why? Because a strong man is dangerous to a system that profits off weak men. Think about it. Who runs the world? It's not the strong, it's not the bold. It's the ones who control the weak, emotional, easily manipulated masses. They need men like you to be. Afraid to speak your mind, too soft to fight back, too dependent to ever walk away. That's why they sold you the lie of submission. They said, real men are gentle, be patient, and good things will come. Just be nice, and the world will reward you. Bullshit. Where did being nice ever get you? You worked hard, and they promoted someone else. You loved her, and she ran to another man. You played fair, and they walked all over you. The world isn't built for nice men. The world is built for monsters. When they made you suffer, they created a beast. Every betrayal, every loss, every moment of humiliation. You felt it, didn't you? That rage, that burning fire. For years you swallowed it. You held it in, thinking, maybe one day, if I just work harder, if I just keep being good, things will change. But they didn't. The pain didn't stop. The betrayals didn't stop. And then something happened. One day, you looked in the mirror and realized this world doesn't care about you. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you respect, success, or power. You have two choices. 1, stay weak and be devoured. 2, embrace the monster and take what's yours. You were never meant to be weak. They trained you to hate power. They conditioned you to fear strength. But deep inside, you always knew you were never meant to be weak. When you watched warriors on the battlefield, didn't you feel it? When you saw men who conquered, who dominated, who stood unshaken, didn't something inside you wake up? That wasn't a mistake. That wasn't some toxic part of you. That was your true nature calling. And now you answer it. Now you reclaim what was stolen from you. Because from this moment forward, you will never bow to weakness again. You will never beg for approval again. You will never allow yourself to be used, discarded, or controlled again. The monster is free, and they will regret ever trying to cage you. Fear is power, and you will be feared. Listen carefully. Power belongs to those who demand it, not the ones who wish for it, not the ones who ask nicely, the ones who take it. That's why every king, every conqueror, every man who ever built an empire was feared before he was loved. You think Caesar was loved first? You think Alexander the Great waited for permission? You think Genghis Khan built his empire by being polite? Number they took, they conquered. And then the world bowed. They will know your name. Do you want respect? Do you want power? Do you want to finally live life on your terms? Then forget everything they ever told you. Stop waiting for approval. Stop explaining yourself. Stop apologizing for your strength. Dominate. Take. Lead. Let them call you dangerous. Let them call you ruthless. Let them whisper your name in fear, because fear is respect, and respect is everything. The old you is gone, the monster is awake, and now the world will kneel. Now that you've accepted the truth, that this world was never built for weak men, it's time to go deeper. Because just waking up isn't enough. You need to understand the rules of power, the laws of the monster. Otherwise, you'll fall into the same traps that kept you weak for so long. Let me tell you something most men will never understand. There is no morality in power. There is no fairness, no justice, no invisible force that ensures the good are rewarded and the evil are punished. That's a lie they fed you to keep you docile, to make you hesitate while they take everything. In reality, there are only two types of men in this world: those who take and those who are taken from. You see, the weak man believes in fairness because he has no power to enforce his own will. He prays for justice because he's too weak to make it happen. He clings to morality because it's his only defense against the ones who hold real strength. But the strong man, the monster, he doesn't ask, he doesn't beg, he dictates reality. And the world bends to his will. Power is everything. Without it, you are nothing. Every rule, every system, every so-called principle in this world is a tool, either to control you or for you to control others. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner you will stop being a victim of it. Because the truth is, those who tell you power is bad are the same ones who hoard it. They say money is evil while they stack billions. They tell you masculinity is toxic while they dominate entire industries. They preach humility while they take the world for themselves. Power is not evil. Power is neutral. It is a force, just like fire. You can use it to build, or you can use it to destroy. The weak fear it because they do not understand it. The strong wield it because they know it is the only thing that separates men who are respected from men who are forgotten. But power has rules. It has laws. If you want to wield it, you need to understand how the world actually works, not how they told you it works. Because in the real world, there are no participation trophies, no rewards for effort alone. There is only outcome, and outcome is dictated by who is willing to do what must be done. Rule number 1, never show your full hand. A lion does not roar before it attacks. A true predator moves in silence, watches, calculates. But weak men? They scream about their plans. They beg for attention. They tell the world their next move. And that's why they always fail. A powerful man understands that mystery is his greatest weapon. He never reveals his full thoughts, never exposes his vulnerabilities, never lets anyone know just how dangerous he truly is. Why? Because power lies in unpredictability. The moment they think they have you figured out is the moment they learn how to neutralize you. You ever wonder why the most powerful men in history never let anyone see their true selves? Why they move like ghosts? Why their actions are impossible to predict? Because certainty is a weakness. If they know exactly what you're going to do, they know exactly how to stop you. Look at the greatest conquerors, the rulers, the men who built empires. Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Genghis Khan. They never moved in straight lines. They never let their enemies know their intentions. They kept people guessing. They made sure no one ever felt completely safe around them. That's how they won wars before a single battle was fought. You must be the same. Never let anyone see all your cards. Speak less than necessary. Reveal only what you choose to reveal. And when the moment comes, strike with precision, leaving them no time to react. Rule number 2, control the game or be controlled. In every interaction, there are only two roles, the one who dictates the terms and the one who follows them. If you are not leading, you are being led. If you are not making the rules, you are playing by someone else's. And in this world, the rules are designed to keep you weak, obedient, dependent. Think about it. The entire system, your education, your job, your relationships, is structured to ensure you follow. You are told to work hard, follow the law, do what's right. But have you ever stopped to ask, right for who? Because what benefits the system does not always benefit you. Look at the men who make the most money, who have the most power, who command respect wherever they go. Do they follow the rules everyone else does, or do they create their own? There is a reason the richest men in the world pay less in taxes than you do. There is a reason the most powerful figures are never held accountable. They do not play by the rules, they rewrite them. This is the mindset you must adopt. Stop playing a game designed to make you lose. Stop blindly obeying rules made by people who do not care about you. Start thinking like the architect, not the pawn. Rule number 3. The strongest men do not seek approval. This one is going to hurt, but you need to hear it. No one truly respects a man who begs for approval. You are trained to think that being agreeable, being nice, being likable would earn you admiration. But in reality, it earns you nothing but contempt. Why? Because when you chase approval, you are admitting one thing. You are beneath the people you seek it from, and people do not admire those they see as beneath them. Think of the men you respect the most. Are they the ones who try to please everyone? Or are they the ones who do not care whether people love or hate them? True strength comes from indifference to opinion. You do not seek respect. You command it through your actions. A lion does not care if the sheep approve of him. A king does not ask for permission to rule. The moment you stop craving external validation is the moment you become truly untouchable. Rule number 4. Never act out of emotion. Control is king. This is where most men fail. They let their emotions drive them. They react instead of strategizing, and in doing so, they hand their power over to whoever knows how to manipulate them best. You ever notice how the most powerful men in history were also the most controlled? How they never let their emotions dictate their actions? That's because emotions are tools, not masters. The weak man gets angry and lashes out. The strong man gets angry and waits. He observes, he calculates, and when the time is right, he acts. Not in rage, not in desperation, but with calculated precision. Control yourself, and you control the world around you. Lose control, and you become a pawn in someone else's game. You were made for more, it's time to take it. Everything you've been taught, everything you've believed, it was designed to keep you small. But you are not small. You are not weak. You were never meant to be another faceless man in the crowd. Power is there for the taking. Respect is there for the commanding. Your name, your legacy, your place in history, it is yours if you are willing to take it. This world was not made for monsters, but monsters make the world their own. And now, the world will kneel. Now that you understand power, now that you've accepted that this world belongs to the men who take it, it's time to talk about strategy. Because power without strategy is chaos, and chaos is a weapon that destroys just as easily as it builds. You want to rule? You want to be feared? Then you must master the art of war. Not just the war fought with guns and armies, but the silent war. The war of influence, the war of dominance, the war that takes place every single day in boardrooms, relationships, negotiations, and power struggles. Every move you make must be calculated. Every action must serve a purpose. The men who rule this world do not act on impulse. They act with precision, with patience, with an understanding of the battlefield most people don't even know exists. You are in a war right now. A war for your mind. A war for your resources. A war for your legacy. And most men are losing because they don't even realize they're in a fight. They follow the script written for them, never questioning, never resisting, never realizing that every day they are being conquered. But you will be different. You will not be a soldier in someone else's army. You will be the general. You will not be a pawn in someone else's game. You will be the king. And kings do not fight blindly. They strategize. Rule number 1. Always think 3 moves ahead. Weak men only think about what's in front of them. Strong men see the entire board, the truly powerful. They plan their moves years in advance. Most men react. Something happens, and they respond. But this makes them predictable. And if you're predictable, you're easy to manipulate, easy to control, easy to destroy. The man who cannot see beyond the present moment is a man who will always be at the mercy of those who can. You must think ahead. Before you make a decision, ask yourself, how will this affect me tomorrow? How will this affect me next year? How will this affect me 10 years from now? The greatest warriors in history won their battles before they even stepped onto the field. Not through brute force, but through strategy. The generals who controlled nations, the businessmen who built empires, the rulers who shaped history, they all understood this one truth. He who controls the future controls everything. So when you act, do not act for today. Act for tomorrow, next year, the next decade. Think 3 moves ahead, and you will never be caught off guard. Rule number 2. Control information. Control reality. Here's a secret most men will never understand. Truth does not matter. Perception does. The most powerful men in the world are not the ones with the most money or the biggest armies. They are the ones who control information. Look at history. Kings did not rule because they were the strongest. They ruled because they controlled the narrative. They decided what was true and what was false. They rewrote history to suit their agenda. And the people, they believed it. You live in a world where everything you see, everything you hear, everything you think you know has been carefully crafted by those in control. They decide what stories get told. They decide who gets canceled. They decide what is acceptable and what is forbidden. And most men accept it without question. But you must be different. You must control the information around you. Never reveal everything you know. The less they understand you, the more they fear you. Control the story. In business, in relationships, in war. Whoever controls the narrative wins. Silence is a weapon. Say less. Observe more. Make your words matter. A man who controls information controls reality. The man who does not, he lives in the world that others have created for him. Rule number 3. Win without fighting. Sun Tzu said it best. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Weak men believe in brute force. They think power comes from domination, from direct confrontation, from proving themselves in battle. But real power is invisible. The strongest men do not win by destroying their enemies. They win by making their enemies destroy themselves. Do you think the rulers of this world fight their own wars? Number. They manipulate others into fighting for them. They do not conquer by force. They create division. They turn people against each other. They make their enemies fight amongst themselves. And you must do the same. Make your enemies doubt themselves. A man who questions himself is a man who cannot fight. Use people's emotions against them. Most men act out of anger, out of fear, out of insecurity. Learn to manipulate those emotions, and they will destroy themselves. Make others believe they are in control. The best way to rule is to make people think they are free. This is the difference between a brute and a king. The brute conquers through force. The king conquers without lifting a finger. Rule number 4, if you can be replaced, you will be. This might be the most brutal truth you will ever hear. You are either indispensable or you are disposable. There is no in-between. Look at the world around you. Companies replace employees like parts in a machine. Women replace men the moment they see a better option. Nations sacrifice their soldiers without a second thought. If you do not make yourself irreplaceable, you will be discarded. And how do you make yourself irreplaceable? By becoming the man they need, but can never replace. Develop rare skills. The man who can do what no one else can will always be valuable. Create your own power. The man who depends on a job, a relationship, or a system to survive is a man who will always be at the mercy of those who control it. Build your own empire. Whether it's wealth, influence, knowledge, own something that no one can take from you. The men who rule this world are not the ones who beg for opportunities. They are the ones who create them. This world is yours for the taking. The battlefield is in front of you. The rules are clear. You can either be the pawn or you can be the king. You can either follow or you can lead, but make no mistake, you will not be given power. You must take it. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. If you want respect, take it. If you want power, seize it. If you want to be feared, earn it. The world does not belong to those who wait. It belongs to those who act. And now, it's time to act. You've made it this far. You've embraced the truth. You've shed your weakness. You've accepted that this world is a battlefield, and power is the only currency that matters. But here's the real test. Can you become untouchable? Most men think power is about control, about money, about status, and while those things matter, they are not enough. Because the truly powerful, they cannot be broken, they cannot be manipulated, they cannot be stopped. And that is your final evolution, to become a force so undeniable, so relentless, so beyond the reach of anyone and anything, that no one can touch you, no one can destroy you, no one can take from you what you are willing to fight to the death to protect. You are not just a man anymore. You are a legend in the making. Rule number 1, become independent, never need anyone. Dependency is the leash that keeps men weak. The man who needs something from another man is a man who can be controlled. Look at history. The greatest rulers were the ones who were self-sufficient. They built their own armies. They controlled their own wealth. They were not at the mercy of anyone. Most men today, they are slaves, slaves to a paycheck. They rely on a company that will replace them in a second. Slaves to validation. They beg for approval from people who do not care about them. Slaves to love. They let a woman dictate their worth, their emotions, their future. But you will be different. You will not need anyone. You will have your own money, so no one can control you. You will master your emotions, so no one can manipulate you. You will be your own source of power, so no one can take anything from you. The untouchable man owns himself. He does not bow. He does not beg. He does not break. You must become that man. Rule number 2, turn your pain into power. They tried to break you, didn't they? They tried to make you weak. They tried to tell you who you could be, what you could do, what you were allowed to have. And at some point, Maybe you believed them. Maybe you swallowed the lies. But not anymore. Now you take every ounce of pain, every moment of rejection, every time you are humiliated, and you forge it into steel. They told you you'd never be great. Prove them wrong. They laughed at you when you failed. Make them watch you succeed. They left you when you were down. Make sure they can never reach you again. Weak men cry about their pain. Strong men use it. The fire inside you, it can consume you, or it can make you unstoppable. The choice is yours. Rule number 3, control your urges, master yourself. The reason most men fail, they are slaves to their desires. Lust controls them. They chase women instead of building empires. Food controls them. They stuff their faces instead of mastering their bodies. Comfort controls them. They avoid hardship instead of embracing strength. Every single one of these things, it is a chain around your neck. And if you want to be untouchable, you must break every single chain. Discipline is the foundation of power. You want to win? Then master yourself. Because the man who can control his own desires, his own thoughts, his own body, he can control the world. Rule number 4, embrace fear. Become the nightmare. Fear. It is the weapon they use against you. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of losing, fear of standing alone. This is how they keep men weak, because the moment a man overcomes fear, he becomes a god among mortals. The world belongs to the fearless, the ones who are willing to risk everything, the ones who step into the unknown with fire in their eyes. You think the warriors of history weren't afraid? You think the kings, the conquerors, the legends didn't know fear? Of course they did, but they looked fear in the eye and laughed, and then they took what was theirs. So from this moment forward, fear does not rule you. You rule fear. You do not run from challenges. You charge toward them. You do not hesitate. You decide. You act. You conquer. You do not doubt. You know who you are. Because the man who fears nothing, he is the man the world fears. Rule number 5, leave a legacy or be forgotten. You will die one day, and when that day comes, what will be left of you? Most men live and die as nothing. No one remembers them. No one speaks their name. They fade into the abyss, forgotten, meaningless. But the legends? Their names never die. And that is your final task. Build something greater than yourself. Create a name that echoes through time. Create an empire that stands long after you are gone. Create a story so powerful that the world never forgets you. Because if you do not leave your mark, you never really existed. The final warning, power or nothing. This is your last moment of choice. You can ignore everything I have told you. You can stay weak. You can continue living a life of mediocrity, of submission, of regret. Or you can rise. You can take what is yours. You can become the man they fear. You can become untouchable. The world belongs to the strong. The wolves devour the sheep. The kings rule the peasants. And now, it is your time to decide. Will you be the conqueror, or will you be conquered? This is the beginning of your reign. You have the knowledge. You have the power. You have the fire inside you. Now go and take everything they said you could never have. Go and make them remember your name. Because now, you are the monster they created, and the world will never forget you.